Hi guys, it's Caleb again from JC Sports, and today I'm going to be interviewing Jordan Burt. Jordan Burt is a pro soccer player that is part of the Colorado Spring Switchbacks. The Colorado Switchbacks team is a team participating in the USL Championship League. He also has a company that helps soccer players improve and become a better soccer player through mental training. Jordan, would you like to say a couple things about yourself for those people who may not know you?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks, Caleb, for having me. And it's always exciting to talk to players like yourself that love the game as much as I do. But yeah, just a little bit about me. I'm in my seventh year as a professional. So coming to the end of my playing career, but it's been a wild, wild ride. And one thing I like to tell kids about my career is that, I've never really been the best player on my team, which is kind of hard to believe, right? Because I've made it as a pro. I've been the captain of my team. I have over 200 games as a pro, led the team in scoring the last two seasons. But I say that because, no matter where you're at in your youth career, you always have room for improvement. And I just love the game so much. It allowed me to propel from level to level. And quick story, Caleb, kind of how I became a pro. So when I graduate college, most guys go to the draft, right? And they try to get picked up on a pro team. Well, that didn't happen to me. So what I had to do was go to these open tryouts. Do you know what an open tryout is?
No.
Okay, so it's basically you have to pay money to go try out in front of these professional coaches. And like hundreds and hundreds of kids come, right? So as you could guess, these tryouts are hardly ever successful. Like maybe one player a tryout gets to stay on the team, right? So guess how many of these I went to? I went to the first one, which was my hometown. They said, Jordan, not too good. You're not good enough. Not fast enough. Not strong enough. Not good enough technically. So I went to the next one. Went to the third one. Went over to Turkey, the country of Turkey. Went back to Sweden. Came to the U.S. Went everywhere. On the 10th one, I finally signed my pro contract. So to say that I feel blessed to be playing as a professional is an understatement. But I like to tell that story because no matter where you're at on your team, with a little perseverance, you can make it to the top.
Right. When did you start playing soccer?
I think I was probably 3 or 4 years old. Just like YMCA. I had an older brother who was really good at soccer. He's a couple years older than me, so my whole life, just trying to defend him and play with him and keep up with him, and that's kind of taught me a lot as well. Just being the underdog and trying to keep up with the older guys.
So, did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I did. So I didn't grow up in the time of super competitive soccer. I was from a small town in Indiana, where there wasn't very many big clubs, right? So I played in high school. I played basketball. I ran track. I played baseball all my life growing up. But soccer, I definitely love soccer. One funny story, Caleb, is I actually played hockey, ice hockey, for one season, my junior year of high school. Okay, and I had never played ice hockey before, but I was like, you know what, this sounds fun. I'm gonna go try out, and I got borrowed skates, borrowed the whole equipment, and went and tried out. Right, and I was so bad, Caleb. I was like, there's no way I'm making this team. Like, how in the heck am I gonna even skate? Like, I could hardly skate backwards, right? So anyways, I make this team, and I played a whole season just with my head spinning, being the worst player on the team. I actually got most improved player that season, which is funny, but I tell you that just because I just love the act of like saying, okay, I'm not good at something now, but I can get better. And in sports, that's just amazing because that was one of my most fun seasons. Was even though I wasn't very good at that sport, every day I got better and better and better and better. I became the most improved player, which means nothing, but I just love sports. I love the ability to show your passion and just get better every day. And I think that's what's kind of allowed me to be a pro for so long.
What position do you play, and what is your favorite position to play?
So that's a great question. In college, I played the six, so like a holding midfielder, and that was kind of my bread and butter. I just kept the ball, I organized the game. I was really good defensively in just breaking up plays, and that was my whole thing. But when I tried out for pro teams, Caleb, sometimes or most of the times the best players were trying out for center mid. So like I was telling you on that 10th tryout when there's tons of guys trying out for center mid, I looked at the team was called the Carolina Railhawks. I looked at their roster online, they had like 7 center mids. So you know what I did? I was like, okay, what position don't they have? Right? They didn't have a right back, which is pretty funny because I'd never played right back. But I went up to the coach the first day and I was like, Jordan Burt, right back. And guess what? I made the team. So I've been a right back in the pros pretty much my whole career, but I'm really a utility player. I can play anywhere. Last year I played center mid, outside back, center back, and forward. So I don't know if I advise that, but that's kind of been a benefit to me. My favorite position though is definitely center mid, just because you get the ball the most.
So, how is it playing on the USL League?
Yeah, the USL League is interesting. A lot of talent. So I've been in the league for a long time, and it keeps getting better and better. And we get a lot of guys that are in the MLS that come down or don't make or don't stay on their team. It's very, very competitive, and a lot of guys choose to stay in this league rather than go elsewhere in the world. But very competitive. We play over 34 games a year, and a lot of these players go on to bigger and better things. So it's a great league for development and getting better.
So, were you nervous your first professional game?
Oh, yes. That's a great question. Okay, so Caleb, let me tell you this story and cut me off if I'm talking too long. But so you know how I was telling you that first tryout I went to was my hometown? So that coach, I was like, that was my best chance of making it, right? I was like, in Indianapolis, this is my hometown. The coach is like, he knows me, he saw me play my whole college career, and then he tells me no. He tells me I'm not good enough. Well, I go on all these tryouts. I finally land on a team in Carolina, and guess who our first game was against?
Oh, your coach's team?
Yeah, that first team I tried out for, they're called Indy 11, okay? So somehow or another, even though I barely made this Carolina team, I started that first game, which is pretty cool, right? And it was amazing because all my friends came, all my family came. I think I literally had 50 people there that I gave tickets, and it had 12 or 14,000 people in the stands. It was wild. Super nervous. But one thing I'll say is like the nerves were all leading up to the game. Like if I wasn't nervous, that would have been bad, right? But once you get into the game, like this, like all the nerves go away because you're just playing the game that you know and love. And finally, I settled into the game. I had a pretty good game actually, and it's funny. After the game, I watched it back, right? And the commentators were like, "Who is this kid? Like, why didn't Indiana pick him up?" So it felt good to play in front of that coach that cut me, and just to kind of prove him wrong.
When did you score your first professional goal?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I scored my first year as a rookie. Wasn't a memorable goal. So, like I've said, I've never been like the most talented player on any team, but I have a hunger and a passion to score like no other. And I score a lot of ugly goals, which my friends make fun of me, but I could care less, Caleb. It's like a goal's a goal, right? So I think it was off like a corner or something, deflected off my knee, and I got lucky. But in the USL, so once I got to Colorado, our coach I played outside back. He liked us to get really high forward, so like a really attacking role as an outside back, which is kind of the modern game, right? And my first year doing that under his system, I scored 8 goals, which was unheard of for a right back. So over the course of my 7 years, I started out like never scoring goals, and now it's kind of like a staple of my game. And I score most of them off corners, a lot of like just hustle plays. And I think that's just a power to hard work and passion, because no matter, even if you're at your level or my level or even in the EPL, a little hustle, a little passion goes a long way.
So, what is the difference between playing college and playing pro?
Speed of play. So everyone's faster, everyone's stronger, but also the speed of play is much faster. So like the time you have on the ball is cut in half, right? So for a player like you, I like to tell young players all the time, even if you do have a lot of time on the ball, you should be thinking about your first option, second option, third option. What's going to happen when you get the ball? What are your options going to be? And trying to think not just one play ahead, but two plays ahead, right? So because every level, that's a tough transition. And I've seen really talented players make the jump from high school to college, college to pro. And, that level, that speed of play is always an adjustment. So no matter where you're at, always trying to be thinking 1, 2, 3 plays ahead and playing faster and faster.
Okay, so who, I know you have a business and it does mental training.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think mental training is a very big part in soccer?
Well, let me ask you this, Caleb. What percentage of the game do you think is mental? Like if you had to put a percentage on it.
99%.
99%? That is a very high percentage. And what do you do personally to train the mental side of the game? Do you do not much or a lot?
Not that much. Like normally before games with my dad, he normally plays this thing which like just calms me down before my games.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, I don't honestly, Caleb, I don't know what percentage of the game it is, but I believe it's a lot, just like you. So, one of the things I tell players all the time is that I know I personally wouldn't be playing pro if I didn't take the mental side of the game seriously. And like those games you play with your dad, super important, because if you play consistently every single game, which is all mental, then you're going to be able to progress. But it's those players that have the tons of ups and downs that seem to fall through the cracks, right, and don't make it. So, yeah, I mean, I've devoted a lot of energy and resources to learning about it, but also practicing it. And, for a young player like yourself to say it's that mental, you guys know it. But that's why I created this business, is because I wanted to give you guys tools to actually implement, like your dad doing that in the car. Does that make sense?
Yes. So,
Awesome.
who's your favorite soccer player?
Oh man, that's a tough one. So when I was younger, these players are probably a little older. You probably don't know him, but you know who Drogba is? He played for Chelsea.
No.
Okay, he's world famous. He actually is from Ivory Coast, and he stopped the Civil War. He's like a giant beast of a forward who scores tons of goals. He used to be my favorite, and I actually got to play against him. He played in the USL the last 2 years, which was pretty cool. So I always looked up to him. And then Clint Dempsey, he was on the national team for a long time. And the reason why I loved him, Caleb, was just because he was so passionate and he was so determined to win games. And he was just a winner, and I loved watching him play.
So, for those that are watching and interested in becoming a pro soccer player, can you tell us some information about what to do and where to start?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, I think if you're interested about playing pro, that's one thing, but you have to ask yourself, are you really that passionate about the game? Are you really that passionate about not just making it to that level, but getting better every single day? So one of the things I like to say is dream big. Like, yeah, it's great to have these giant dreams, Caleb, of being a pro, but you have to start small. And it like now is a great time. Like you're probably not training very much with your team. Your coaches are away. It's all on you, right? So yeah, dream big, but what are you doing today? What are those small things you're doing today to get just a little bit better? So I think that's the mindset that it takes. It takes a lot of passion and love for the game, but you have to be willing to do these tiny little things every single day. To give you an example, like today, we're not training as a team because our season's postponed, but a lot of guys are probably doing nothing. But I've put it upon myself to make a schedule. So after this call, I've got a workout. I'm going to do an interval run, a lift, and then another interval run. I read a book this morning that gets my mind in the game, and I've been working really hard on this business. So I think you have to be able to dream big but think small. So start small. What are you doing today just to get a little bit better, and become obsessed with getting just a little bit better every day, and eventually you'll get there.
Okay, so now it's time for the fun part.
Okay.
We're gonna play a game called Impossible Decisions, and I will give you 2 decisions, but you can only choose one. So there's gonna be 6 questions.
All right, I'm ready, man.
Would you rather live in a world without music or without movies?
Oh, music.
So would you rather score a hat trick or a goal in the last minute?
Go on the last minute.
Would you rather play in the World Cup and lose, but like you're gonna play, or would you rather sit on the bench and win the World Cup?
Oh man, I would rather play, I think.
Would you rather live in a world without sun or soccer?
Without sun, I need soccer. We all need it.
Would you rather miss an unmissable shot or score an own goal?
Ooh, I would rather miss an easy shot for sure.
So, would you rather be invisible or time travel?
Time travel.
That was the last question. And just saying thank you for answering my questions for the interview. And anything else you want to share with us before I let you go?
No, thank you for having me. It's always fun talking to players like yourself who are looking to get better. So use this time to get better. That's all you can do. And I hope you and your family are staying safe.
Thanks. Bye.
See you, Caleb.
So for those who are watching, thanks for tuning in. And if you'd like to see any of my previous videos, go to our YouTube channel, JC Sports Houston, and you will be able to see other interviews, training videos, and fun sports videos. See you later.